Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim of Exshaw and in today's tutorial slash review, I'm going to go over hand stamping and hand stenciling your quilting cotton. Alright, so these are just samples that I have here from a few projects that I've made. Actually, these patterns are in my shop right now. It's called Grand's Kitchen. It has like pot holders and table runners and placemats and oven mitts, etc. So I kind of wanted to pair all of those patterns with a review because you guys really loved how these looked. So I thought it would be fun to do that with you today. All right, so to begin, I've learned a lot in this process and some later rather than earlier, which I would have liked. But one thing that I will say when we start is I would not use fabric paint. So I went and I bought this. It's a fabric paint, and I find that the fabric paint is terrible for quilting cotton, and the reason for that is that it is very rubbery feeling and it's very sticky. So when you go to iron this and cut it, it just kind of it sticks to everything and it's not awesome. So what I do recommend is something like this. I went and I bought a kit. Actually, I'll show you the kit and then I'll show you the paint. I went and I bought this Martha Stewart kit because I was just interested in learning a little bit more about stenciling and stuff, because I haven't been a big fan of stenciling, but now I am. So I went and I bought this kit on Amazon, and it has like these stamps and stencils and the tools that come with it. Mine are well used, so I thought I'd show you these ones that haven't been used yet, because this is the second kit that I bought and I'm really happy with it. I really like these, what are they called? Like sponge dabbers, I guess. They're really nice. So I bought the kit just to get those again because I couldn't find them anywhere without being in a kit. And then I also bought a box of her paint because I really love this paint. So the reason why I got this is because I used up all of the white in the kit that I bought. These are only a 2 ounce. So if you're doing like yards and yards and yards of fabric like me, this is not going to be enough. But I was really happy with this paint. So this is a craft paint that is multi-surface, and you can print it or dab it on almost anything. And it worked really nice for the fabric. But you do want, after you have let it dry, after you've stenciled and or stamped it or whatever, you want to let it dry completely and then set it with a hot iron, and then it's permanent. So I wanted to show you the difference between the two. So this is hand stamped and then this is stenciled. So this is the reason why I kind of like the stencils more, is because they're more vibrant. You can put more paint in the stencil when you're doing it rather than the stamp. I find that the stamp looks very cool. I really like it. It gives it this very like rustic vibe, and I do really love that for certain things. But this collection that I wanted to do, I really wanted the flowers to pop, so I used the stencils for that, and I found that they did a really beautiful job. So this is the other Martha Stewart stencil kit that I got. I've used every one of the stencils in the kit, and what I did after I used them, I washed them very gently with warm water, soapy dish soap, and I rinsed them very good on both sides. And then what I did, because there's a plastic that you peel off, I put the plastic back on just to keep it kind of sticky so it sticks to your fabric when you're using it. What I do find when I am stenciling is that some of the designs, this one for example, these are really, really tiny. And I did find that when you're stenciling like a lot of things, like for example yards and yards of fabric, what I like to do is take it over and wash it out and soap it up a little bit, and then I just like flick all the water out of it because I don't want that on my fabric. And I find that when I did that for designs that are really, really tiny, I got a clear stencil out of it. So I find that the paint starts to dry if you are doing like a lot of stenciling in between. So I rinse them in between when I'm finding that maybe the stencil isn't giving me a super clear print anymore. I will just rinse these really good and then just keep on reusing them. So I really like that. I really enjoyed these. Actually, I enjoyed these stencils more than the stamps that came with the kit. The stamps are cute and they're decent, but they're not the best. So because I like this paint, and I grabbed, you know, like a kit of the neutral colors because I'm a neutral girl. I really like those. They have other colors and things like that, but I really liked this kit. My daughter is an artist and she hand carves. She actually drew this right on. She uses like, what are they called? Erasers. And she will draw her design on the rubber, and then she'll carve it out by hand. And this paint works really good with these as well. So let's go over the different kinds of paint. So like I mentioned, I would not use fabric paint for doing these stencils. It was a nightmare to deal with after, and unfortunately I had done yards and yards and yards with this, and once I let it dry, I ironed it, and then I had to cut it because I'm going to grab a ruler and I'm going to show you. Because I use quilting rulers and they're plastic, this paint would stick to this, making it a nightmare to cut. Like, it was not fun. So that is the reason why I really don't like the fabric paint. And I really like the multi-surface paint. So the other option is you could use block printing paint as well, except that I find it very thick. And I'm sure that you could just like add a couple drops of water just to, you know, like make it so it's not so thick. So this is the block printing ink. And this works really, really well if you're stamping. But stenciling, it's not so great. That's why I liked this stuff, because it's multi-purpose and I could stamp it and use the stencils. So like I said, this stuff the block printing ink is really good. It is far more expensive, but it does a good job, especially if you are using like hand carved stamps. And even these stamps, these are foam, by the way, so they're not the best quality, just so you know. I don't know if you can really tell, but they are like a foam, so they're not the best quality, but they're good. They're decent for what you're going to be doing with them. But just so you know the difference in ink. So the other option is, and this is something that I concocted on my own, and it's decent and a little bit more affordable than, say, the block printing ink. So what I did is I take regular acrylic paint. So this is normal acrylic paint that you would get anywhere. It doesn't have to be the fluid. I just grabbed this out of my art kit. I use just regular cheap acrylic paint, and then I added, and I don't know why they put this, I tried to peel the sticker off of it, but anyway, this is called fabric paint medium, and you mix it 50-50. So you would add, you know, for example, if you're going drop by drop, you drop 1 drop of this and then 1 drop of your acrylic paint, and you mix it really, really good. And that is really nice for stenciling as well. So I've used both of those, but by far my favorite so far is the Martha Stewart multi-surface. And it is more expensive, but there's less hassle to it, and it doesn't stick to the acrylic quilting rulers like the fabric paint does. I will never buy this again. And it's not just the brand, it's the fabric paint. I just find that it's too rubbery for quilting afterwards. If you weren't doing that, if you weren't, you know, cutting it for quilting purposes, and you were doing it for, you know, something else, a t-shirt, or printing it on something like that, I'm sure that it would be fine, but it wasn't my favorite thing to use. So All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you quickly just how I stencil. All right, so I grabbed some scrap fabric here. I'm just gonna pull it up so you can actually see what I'm doing here. And I really like using these, the lids off of takeout. It's like Chinese takeout or whatever. I save all of these, I wash them, and I use them again and again and again. And I really like these for stamping and stenciling, and it's free, you already have them. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use my fabric medium, and we're just going to go half and half. Now, if you find this, because this is a liquid, right? So this acrylic paint is really runny. So if you want a thicker combination, you can get like thick acrylic paint. You can get the liquid if you run it runny, or you could just get the regular acrylic paint that they sell, the basics, and it'll be a normal consistency. So depending on what you kind of want, I'm gonna take the paintbrush that was included. You know what I realized? I'm using dark blue on a black. So I'm gonna grab a different piece of fabric. Oh my goodness. And you just wanna mix it really, really good. So I'm gonna grab another piece of fabric. All right, so you wanna make sure that your fabric is pressed. I did press this, but I didn't spend a whole lot of time doing it. But you wanna give your fabric a press. And you want to have something, I learned this the hard way too, is you want something underneath your fabric, like a catcher, so you don't stamp your cutting board. Okay, so I just kind of give it a roll with my lint brush to remove any hair or fur or whatever we got going on there. And now we are ready to stamp. So we've got our paint over here that is already mixed and ready to go. And then I'm going to use this little dabber. Actually, maybe I'll use this dabber today. I really like the kit that comes with the Martha Stewart, the tools in it, because it's just so, they're really nice. They work really well, and I've reused mine a ton. So I keep it in here, and I just put it in plastic. I usually wash it, but I was kind of lazy last night because I was tired. So I put it in a Ziploc bag, and I squish all the air out of it, and I zip it up, and then it stays wet. And then I can wash it the next morning or just reuse it, and it's totally fine. All right, so we are gonna pick out a stencil. So you wanna peel off the backing like that. Do you see that? And it just kind of takes out the little pieces from the stencil. And I keep these, and then I wash these, and I put it back on the sticky side so I can keep on reusing them, and they reuse really nice. So we're just gonna place that down on our fabric, give it a press, and actually I'm just gonna use my paintbrush to dab it. I really like the dabbers that it comes with. I'm not sure what they're called, but they're like little sponges like I showed you, and they work really, really nice. Really, really good. And we just want to make sure that we get all of the stencil. It is a little bit faster when you're using the sponges, but I don't feel like dirtying another. Like that. And then just hold the fabric down. And there we go. And you just continue on. So what I like to do is I kind of eye it up and line everything up. I'm finding this, I might have added a little bit too much of fabric medium because this is like pretty watery today. I like, if you want a crisper print, then I wouldn't make it this watery. it's a little bit thicker. I think that it works really well. But like I said, I really like the Martha Stewart paint. Like, this stuff is awesome. It does such a nice job. So that's why I ended up buying like a box of it. But yeah, so what I like to do now, like, I could go down again, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna line it up. So my leaves are at the same height. Do you see that? And I go as close as I can without touching the other print. Yeah, I'm finding that I put a little bit too much, and it could be also that this is a liquid acrylic, but I'm not liking that it's not giving me a super clear print. It's a little bit too watery, but that's okay. This is just like and you might want to test different things and see what you like out of it the best. Like, maybe you like a messier print, that's what this is yielding right now. It's kind of messier, but actually we're gonna stamp too. I'm gonna show you another stamp. So we are going to dab. What actually works really well, and this did not come in the Martha Stewart kit, but you can get these little rollers on Amazon, and with the block printing ink, you can roll the ink up. Hopefully you can see that in the video. You just roll it like that, and then you roll it onto the stamp. This is why I kind of like stenciling a little bit more, I'll be honest, because it's just, I don't know, I just find it a little bit easier, maybe more enjoyable for me. Everybody has a preference, right? But I really like the stenciling so far. So that's what it would look like with the block printing ink and then a stamp. Just give you an idea of what it kind of looks like. You're going to get like these little variations where maybe the ink was a little bit lighter in that corner or on a certain part of the design. I really like the look of it. I think it's really pretty, but it really depends on what you want to do and your style of print. But I do like, you know what, I'm just going to quickly also show you the Martha Stewart ink, because I've been going on and on about it and I'm not even showing you that, but that is my favorite stuff. I kind of don't even want to use it because it's like precious, but let's see if I have one opened. Here we go. This is the one that I had open. It's almost very little left in there. I'll just use a tiny bit. I love this stuff so much. I'm going to show you with my little dabber, this is my favorite one, what the Martha Stewart paint looks like. Okay, so we're just going to lay that down. And dab our spongy thing, dabber I guess, and we're just going to fill it in. My favorite color of fabric to do are like medium colors, like browns and blues and things like that, because I find that they just do like the look of them is really nice, right? So okay, we're just gonna peel that off, and I find that when you're doing bigger pieces of fabric, it also does a bit of a better job. I'm not sure why, but there we go. Isn't that pretty? I just love these stencils. I'm so in love with it. It looks so pretty. And when this dries completely, I'm going to heat set it with the iron for 5 to 8 seconds on high. And then you don't have a problem. And that another reason why I like the Martha Stewart multi-purpose paint compared to the fabric paint is because it doesn't stick to your iron either, or like I said, the ruler. So yeah, so isn't that cute? Like, I might cut this out and put it on something. These are just like scraps from my quilt that I'm making right now, but isn't that cute? It's so pretty. So I'm just gonna go wash everything up so nothing gets ruined. So after you're done stenciling, you definitely want to go wash all of your stamps and your stencils and your dabbers right away, so you don't have any problems with things being permanent or not rolling as nice. So this one is starting to dry a bit, so we want to make sure that we've washed everything with some dish soap. I find Dawn dish soap works really nice to get all of the paint out. But yeah, so that concludes our little video. If you have any questions, you can email me at hello@exshawquilts.com or leave a comment if you like. But yeah, it's just a fun thing to do to spice up your quilt, especially if you use solids in your quilts. Like, I buy a lot of solid fabric because it is a lot cheaper a yard for me to buy blanks or solids than it is to buy prints. So this is a nice way to add some print in your life without it being terribly, terribly expensive. And it's a lot of fun to do as well. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye now.